women, sex, God, power. Hollywood doesn't want you. Why the priestess can't fit into commercial structures. The purpose of today's episode is to show you, if you are a woman who is a performer, who wants to be visible, who wants to be highly seen and highly impactful, that if you haven't managed to make it within a certain circle, within a certain industry up until now, it's likely because you're a little bit too powerful and your energy goes completely against the way mainstream and commercial structures are set up. Structures which are not designed to hold you, which do not want you to succeed because you're a little bit too potent and powerful for them. So that's what we're covering on today's episode. Just a quick reminder that if you are a woman who's been listening to these episodes for a while, or you're new to this space and you're interested to learn more about the work that I'm doing this year with women on the Priestess path, my Temple of the High Priestess membership has just launched over the last month. This is a space where we are doing all of the work around helping you build the capacity, the power, the resilience, the consistency to step into greater visibility, to step into your artistry, step into your purpose, activate your voice, align with the wealth and the success that is meant for you and that is designed for you. If you don't know much about me, I'm originally an Egyptian classically trained musician. I grew up in the UK where I was born. I had a lot of trauma in my childhood. I was born we could say gifted, classically gifted musician. I was playing piano, cello and singing fluently by the time I was age 6. And I had parents who were really, really pushy and forced me into a performance environment long before I had built the capacity to be able to hold that attention on me. Also, I'm highly sensitive. Also was diagnosed with autism quite early, dyslexia, dyspraxia, all of the things. But I still managed to go on to have a lot of success as a singer and a musician. I also, in the last 2 years, have built a multi-six-figure business. I've done all of this on my own. I've had no mentor, no teacher, no guide. I've had to orchestrate my path completely solely on my own because there have been no structures, no support systems to help me. So the purpose of my work is to help women such as yourself who are unique, who are different, who stand out, who have never fit into any group scenario, who have never found belonging in the world as we know it, and really, really need to feel held and guided and supported and return to the truth of who they are. This is what we're doing inside of the Temple membership. So please make sure that you go to the show notes. When this episode is over, you can join the membership via 3 pathways. The most affordable pathway is the membership pathway. You can sign up for 1 month, trial version, no long-term commitments. You can cancel any time you want, but that will give you a taste of the work that we're doing here. It's deep, it's transformative, it's profound, and every single woman that's come through my work, my programs, all of them have gone on to have some form of success as an artist and a business owner. And they've said, not to toot my own horn, it is because of the support that they found inside of my leadership programs. So go to the show notes, check that out. And if you're enjoying this podcast, do make sure you follow the podcast page. Without further ado, here's today's episode. This episode is going to consist of a chapter from a book that I started writing and then put to the side because I realized I'm trying to do too many things all at once. But I'm going to read you what I've written thus far, which is in alignment with everything that we're discussing on today's episode, so you can begin to understand what your energy and what your constitution has actually been built for. But it's not built to fit into mainstream capitalistic corporate structures upheld by the patriarchy. Yes, they can get you very far in the material realm of success. But for women who are on the priestess path, for women who are older souls, for women who actually have to build their success in alignment with their spirituality, it's not even an option for you. You have to do it because if you don't, a lot of things will backfire. I'm sure that you've probably seen that in your life thus far. So for you as a woman on the priestess path, what I want you to take away from this episode is that you are not meant to build your success like other people. You are not meant to try and fit yourself into structures and environments that you are too big for. And if you do, it's going to make you feel really anxious. Your body is always going to tell you if you are somewhere that you do not belong, that you are not meant to be, because it's too small to hold the vibration of what you can offer. Women who've had multiple past lives as priestesses, oracles, who carry a heightened, expansive, energetic signature. They cannot walk into most spaces and feel at home in most spaces, feel comfortable, find belonging, find integration, because they are here to engineer and initiate something of their own. They are here to be the leader of the pack. It took me quite a long time to understand this about myself. It took me a long time to understand that every environment I was trying to fit into, every time I tried to do a collaboration with someone, it would always end in destruction. It would always end with people I was working with feeling a lot of jealousy, envy, competition, trying to sabotage what I was doing. All of these things are classic signs of a woman who is of priestess power, holds a tremendous amount of power, and cannot fit into mainstream structures. Once you understand the pattern and once you understand this is not personal to you, it's just typical of any woman that holds tremendous spiritual power and is here to awaken the collective, you'll stop taking it personally, and you'll also stop wasting time trying to fit into places that are not for you, my love, because it's making you anxious, it's spiking your cortisol, it's pressuring you and pushing you to subdue your energy, subdue your power, to morph you into something that you're not meant to be, so that you can maintain harmony and resonance and decorum in spaces with people who just don't like you, okay? Because we're talking about a completely different energetic constitution. Okay, so I'm going to switch into storytelling mode so that I can read you a little bit from this chapter. It's not a coincidence that we barely see representations of the priestess woman in mainstream culture. If you are a woman with an expression which is raw and powerful and taboo bending and revolutionary in terms of your capacity to disrupt archaic and societal paradigms, you will have noticed that women who embody the feminine archetype similar to yourself, renowned for their transformative and alchemizing powers, are often shunned, outcasted, and vilified, or exist obscurely, in comparison to their easier to digest peers. It's also not a coincidence that the woman who is most pushed to the forefront of mainstream culture is often a regurgitation of the same archetype, constitution, and character. And this is, of course, deliberate. Everything from the algorithm to the gatekeepers of the entertainment and music industry are trained like a parasitical, scheming highness overlord, watching and calculating and deciding and determining which woman is suitable to be pushed to the forefront of a collective and which should be left behind, shunned, evaded, no matter the genius of their artistic contribution. Who makes it, after all, is not determined by who has the most talent or the greatest gift, but rather which woman is easiest to infiltrate and use on behalf of Hollywood's propaganda. And to be more precise, I would say on behalf of Israel's propaganda at this point. Women who are selected and propelled to the forefront of the music industry or the film industry and make it as part of mainstream culture or integrate into Hollywood culture must possess certain attributes and characteristics to achieve these heights of fame. These women who are selected as the face of femininity, worthy of the male gaze, are so often naive, psychologically immature, underdeveloped, oblivious of the power that they hold as women, effortlessly indoctrinated, and often completely unaware of the role that they are being asked to play in upholding patriarchal and gender norms. In continually pushing the archetype of the good girl, the sexy temptress, think Marilyn Monroe, the woman who is people-pleasing, pacifying, accommodating to the structures of mainstream culture and the men who are running those structures, the self-sacrificing wife, the mother, all of the stereotypes, all of the archetypes of woman that we have seen pushed by mainstream culture. What both the film industry and music industry completely understand they are doing in very carefully selecting women who are of that archetype and never dare to reach beyond the boundaries of those very submissive feminine archetypes and move into more taboo, revolutionary, rebellious, interesting territory in the way that they use their voice as artists. We are ensuring that a collective of women and a collective of men are continually brainwashed and indoctrinated into only being able to digest and accept one type of woman. A really great example of this, although she's not very popular right now, would probably be Sydney Sweeney, who I don't know if she's conscious of the role that she's playing. I don't think, bless her, she's really awakened to her power to understand that. I think she's just being pushed about by the structures of Hollywood, like so many women who come into those scenes are. But then there is a different archetype also of woman that makes it into Hollywood, who I would refer to as the fallen priestess, who is perfectly aware of what she is doing and is happy to sacrifice all of her morals, all of her integrity, any form of spiritual integrity for the purpose of maintaining and growing her fame. This is why you tend to see a almost carbon copy production of the same singer, actress, public figure. It's almost as if they have been produced in the same factory, and in many ways they have. They have gone through the same indoctrination, brain programming, eradication of any sense of identity or uniqueness process in order to ensure that they can be servants of both Hollywood and the patriarchy. Again, everything that they do, all of the music they release, even if it seems artsy and edgy and like they're pushing artistic boundaries, mark my words, embedded in the lyrics, embedded in the frequency of the music, everything that is produced, everything that they put out is done with the intention of sedating the masses and the collective. And when you ask, why will these people not speak on behalf of the Palestinians? Why will they not speak up for specific causes? Even though some are, the answer to that is because everything that Hollywood has is funded by Israel. I'm sure that you know this by now. I think we're in a time where it's pretty unacceptable to not be aware of all this and to choose to turn away from it. So no matter how wonderful you might think your favorite singer is or your favorite actress, or how, actively they might be pursuing a certain cause, or they might be presenting themselves as being here for the benefit of the people, the benefit of the LGBTQ community, everything that they do is self-serving. Everything that they do is to maintain fame, maintain societal power, or grow it. Whatever good moral acts you might see are projected as part of their public persona, behind most of it is someone who is involved with so much corruption and is very happy to go along with all kinds of heinous acts in order to maintain their position. And that's just reality. And this is why, if you are someone who's on the priestess path and you are here to awaken people, it is very hard to fit into those structures. It is very hard to move in those circles and not immediately be demonized or vilified in some way. A lot of the time, you don't even need to say anything. People can just feel energetically that you are different. This was my experience coming from the music industry, moving in very, very dodgy circles. Even as a younger woman, I was 15. This was between the ages of 15 and 21. People could feel that there was something about me that was energetically completely beyond what most of the singers in that particular room, in the particular space, in the industry were carrying as an energetic signature. So this is why every woman who is pushed to the forefront appears to look and sound and act like a carbon copy of the last woman who was endorsed. And you will notice that everybody has their time in the entertainment industry. So there will be a specific time where the culture and the masses will be crazy about a specific artist or actress, and then suddenly, almost overnight, bored, move on to the next woman object that the industry is prepared to propel to success, because the industry doesn't care about you as an artist or your identity or your vision. It doesn't give a shit about any of those things. You are just an object that is there to serve their agenda, which is to keep feeding the masses, keep indoctrinating the collective with this idea that woman must be here to serve the male agenda. These women are engineered, they are built, they are constructed by the industry, and they are manufactured as singers, as actresses, as public figures to promote specific feminine ideals, which often cater to the innocence and naivety of young girls. Think of Disney, think about the amount of propaganda that Disney has ushered into the collective psyche through their films, through the productions that they choose to take on. And with these movies and these storylines that they pour billions into producing, not for the love of art, not for the love of making art, not for the love of making something beautiful, but because films and music are the most powerful way to spellbound, to cast spells over the collective. There is no more powerful tool than the singer who is promoted or the actor who is promoted to deliver a certain subconscious message through their movies, through their music. Again, I hope that you know this by now. Hollywood is not pouring millions or billions of dollars into the production of these films for the love of art. All of it is a ploy to ensure that the collective is fed with a certain message, subliminal programming, pumped full of fear, so that we then all collectively manifest the exact reality that they want, the powers that be. And that reality is one currently where there is poverty, suffering, struggle, and where the planet is continually run by billionaires who are funding the industry. So every person that is endorsed, every woman, every man, every actor and singer that is endorsed in Hollywood is there to serve the machine's propaganda. Which brings me back to my original point, which is if you are a woman who is taboo bending and you're a rebel and you are a truth teller and a light bringer, there is nowhere in that industry or in those structures or with people who are addicted to power and there for their own, to benefit their own pursuits, there is nowhere and no way that you can fit into those structures and hold on to your spiritual integrity. Either you are serving the propaganda or you're kicked out. It's really that simple. So when you look at your favorite actors and singers and you start telling yourself a story that, oh no, but they're different, they're one of the good ones, they're one of the ones who are here for people's, awakening because they're pouring their money into this charity. Yeah, that's part of a little act. That's part of the act to get you to continue to endorse them, to believe that these people are truly for you. But the reality is, if they are participating in films or movies or writing music that is on some level programming the collective with fear, contributing some form of fear-mongering in the name of entertainment, then you should really begin to question why you follow these people, why you look up to them, why you endorse them, and why you don't respect yourself more as a woman who is choosing a very different path. Why do you think those people are better than you? Why do you think they're worthy of your worship, your attention, or your time? They're not. They're not braver than you. They're not more courageous than you. What is truly courageous is to be an artist who chooses to move against those structures and do something independent of those structures for the benefit of the collective. I'm interrupting this episode just for a quick moment to let you know that my Temple of a High Priestess membership has just opened. This is a 6-month journey where together you and I will be moving through the primary initiations and the primary themes that every business owner, artist, creative, spiritually sensitive woman must move through in order to step into greater visibility, build financial freedom from her artistry, and balance being both a successful artist with successful entrepreneurship. Inside this membership, I am not giving you more content. What is offered inside of a temple is a deeply sacred space that is here to call you into your power, realign you with matriarchal and indigenous wisdom teachings and devotional practices, so that everything that you do, from making money to creating content, creating art, building your online platform, interacting and engaging with your audience and community, feels deeply nourishing. This membership is specifically designed for you if you are spiritually gifted, perceptive, neurodivergent or autistic, desiring to blend your spiritual path with your artistry and with entrepreneurship. You might be someone who knows that they are meant to lead, create, and be seen, but you are seeking support in order to build your capacity, your confidence, your emotional resilience to be able to consistently show up on camera, post online, use your voice without being hijacked by trauma or overwhelm. This is also for you if you're a woman who is past the stage of healing, but you don't feel fully embodied in your power as of yet, and you're looking for the structure, the strategy, and the direction to take the spiritual knowledge that you've accumulated over the years and package it into products and soul work that you can easily scale to a multi-six-figure business. You're also a woman who is aware that you are here for more impact, more recognition, more reach, but you're not willing to perform or force your way to success. Everything that we're doing inside of a temple is specifically designed to help you deepen your relationship with your voice, your body, and your power. You can choose out of 3 different ways to enter the temple, and you can visit the show notes to join for a 1-month trial period as of today. You can also watch my brand new masterclass, The 4 Thresholds to Priestess Power, to get a taste of the work that we'll be doing inside of the membership. Everything you need to get started is in the show notes, so do make sure that you visit them once you've finished listening to this episode. And a lot of these movies that are produced, these innocent rom-coms, all of it is targeting a collective of very young, naive girls often growing up without father figures, who are desperately seeking the love of a father figure, the love of a man. And these movies successfully penetrate their psyches long before they've grown into adulthood and have a discernment, maturity, or wisdom as women to know that a man is not a plan. All of these stories, as cute and as sweet as they might sound and might seem, again, continue to project the narrative that man is your savior. Partnering with a man, working to earn the love of a man, is the highest form of reward that you can have in this reality as a woman. Now, I think at the beginning of this podcast, when I started it right at the end of 2023, that was a type of message and warning that I would give out to women quite often. You know, a man is not a plan, partnering with a man for your financial security, blah, blah, blah. I don't think at this stage, with most of my listeners, or where we are as a culture, because we've come so far since then, I don't think I need to say that anymore. But, you know, this is just for your own awareness to recognize every movie that is pushed to the forefront of mainstream culture is to program you. It is to take control of your mind. It is there for the purpose of weakening your subconscious in some way. It's really crucial that you do regular internal examinations of the thoughts that are running in the background of your mind to make sure that you're not regurgitating or taking on what is actually not yours. I do this practice every single day. You have to do it every single day. You have to. Your mind is creating reality. Your mind, your thoughts, your energy, and your thoughts influence your energy and your emotions is constantly engineering and determining the actions you take, the actions you avoid taking, the decisions you're making on a daily basis, from the most insignificant to the most profound. You have to protect this space, your inner realm, the sacredness of your mind's creative capacity, your consciousness to orchestrate reality, to ensure that you are not taking in or absorbing what places you in a state of fear, places you in a state of anxiety. That means reconsidering whose art, whose music, what actor you watch on TV. I think that's something that's worth considering. And if you are psychically sensitive, then you will know that the moment you see someone talking about this latest artist or this latest movie or this latest whatever, season 3 of Euphoria. Is it season 3 or season 4? I don't know, because I don't watch anything. I'm so careful about anything that I watch. And Euphoria is something that I have never watched and will not be watching. You could not pay me to watch it. I'm not curious enough. If I have curiosities about something, I'm very good at disciplining myself to move on, to come offline for a while, to shut off the noise, because is it worth watching something that is going to then stick with your subconscious for the rest of your life? Every movie that you watch stays with you for the rest of your life. There's no need for you to be watching films like The Substance. I don't care if it has Demi Moore in it and she's your favourite actress. These people don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about you. Okay, I'm going on a tangent. I want to come back to some of my original points that I made for this episode. But they don't give a shit about you. Why are you giving them any attention, any time? Just look away, protect your subconscious. So you may perhaps understand now why it is the awakened woman who is bombarded with forces who seek to disrupt her rise into influence, empowerment of self, empowerment of the feminine collective, because she is a deliverer of truth, not just someone making art, not just someone with a lot of power, but a deliverer of truth. Someone who has the power to break down the walls of reality as we know it, the architecture of reality as we know it, and reshape it from the roots up. She has the inner energetic tools to reshape the consciousness of the human collective. This has always been the task of a priestess. And this has always been the ability and talent that she has been embedded with. And not only are most women who come into this world bearing this power as young girls forced to crawl and bleed through so many forms of persecution and attack on their way up to stepping into their power and stepping into their voice, but that's only 50% of the journey. The other 50% is in actualizing your talents and your gifts. Actualizing the material success that you desire, reaching people with your message. So whilst the journey to embodying your highest truth and fulfilling your purpose is extremely grueling, right? It requires so much of you. This is why you have come in carrying so much power, because it would not be possible for you to go through this process of persecution, attack, misunderstanding, jealousy, 9 out of 10 people trying to do something to sabotage your progress. You need power to withstand those forces. You need the power to transform and alchemize all of the wounds and traumas that you've navigated in the here and now and previous incarnations. And then you need to have the power to finally actualize your gift after you've waded through, fought through all of those different forms of oppression. So the priestess always comes in endowed with 10, 15, 20 times more power than the average person. She is sitting on a vast minefield of power, but she often doesn't know it, or she often isn't given the chance to activate it. Because not only is she not given the support to do so, because other people can see how powerful she is and they are threatened by her potential, by her ability to awaken so much in other people, but she also has to navigate everything in her life pretty much alone. There is no one who is coming to help her. There is no one who is coming to help you in this process. So I want you to know that you are not imagining things, you are not exaggerating your story when you consider how often in your life you've experienced resistance, psychic attack, persecution, and commonly from those closest to you, whom you thought were going to be there to fend for you. We live in a realm of density, duality, and pressure. And we are also obviously influenced by the planets when it comes to this as well, right? Saturn brings density. It brings hardship. It brings harsh lessons. It's about discipline. It's about self-mastery, patience, working for the reward. Also, the total breakdown and dismantlement of your entire life path so that what is left in that process is only what is truly of your essence. We have Mars, which is about pressure, right? Mars brings a lot of intensity. It does support initiations, but it also brings a lot of pressure. It pressurizes the nervous system to have to keep up, with the pulse of life, to have to keep moving, even when we want to break down, even when we need time out to rest, even when we want to disappear from the world. So we live in an energetic environment that is about density, duality, and pressure. So what this means for you is that if you incarnate with the capacity and ability to actualize a great creative vision, a great purpose of some sort, you will also find that you encounter, as part of your path, you encounter and magnetize circumstances that push back against what you are doing. And this is why the priestess, the spiritually gifted woman, requires 10 times the protection than the average woman walking this earth, because you will inevitably be persecuted, be fought against, and sometimes for doing little more than just being available, just being present. This is just part of the path. It's not personal. It doesn't make you special. It doesn't make you unique. You come from a long lineage of women, likely, who have had to move through the same density, the same duality. Very quick lessons, very traumatic experiences. The breakdown of your health, no support, no belonging, no partner, no men who are willing to help you. And all of this is a result of the energetic constitution that you come in carrying. And whilst you may not be fully aware of the extent to which your power and light radiates, others certainly are. And they will seek to use it against you. They will seek to impose and enforce their own laws, their own limitations, their own negative projections of what is possible, what is not possible, in a unconscious attempt, but a desperate attempt to stop you from actualizing your success. And if you are not fully in command of your own energy, then they will succeed. Because it's you against millions. That's the reality. Any woman with a really, really big purpose or mission, and man as well, because we can see this with male past public figures. It's you against millions. And whilst that sounds really daunting and really scary, it's not, because one conscious human, one human who has claimed their light, and particularly a woman who has claimed her light, who is protected by the divine, who knows that she has that protection, no matter what she does, is more powerful than a million sedated, unconscious humans. So for me personally, at this stage in my path, if you put me in front of 20, 100 million people, I would probably manage it quite well. I can confidently say I would probably manage it quite well, because I've had to go through so much fucking training to get to that point where I am detached from what other people think of me. This path requires you mastering your emotions, no longer allowing yourself to be reactive, scattered, easily influenced or impressionable when it comes to what other people have to say about you. Words only have power if you give them power. I would know that as a quadruple Scorpio. I know how powerful words are. They can be spells or they can be curses. But other people's words, you get to decide how that impacts you. You have that power. No one else has power over you. We could say that the priestess is also the dark creatrix, If you want to understand more about the creatrix archetype, I have an episode on here called The 8 Most Powerful Feminine Archetypes. In the first video episode, I'm covering everything you need to know about this archetype. You can scroll back down to find that episode. The dark creatrix is often denied belonging, love, affection, and celebration. She is often treated as if her mere existence is an offense to everyone around her. So it's no wonder that she spends many years shutting people out, trusting no one, and expecting betrayal and loss, expecting to be disappointed. Being a little bit paranoid, this has definitely been the case for me, and you have to watch that because yes, a lot of people, most people can't be trusted, but you've got to watch that you don't start manifesting that as a reality because you've chosen now to believe that it's always going to be the case. The priestess and the dark creatrix is always going to invite polarizing responses. And it will often leave you believing that your existence is unacceptable to countless, that you're unloved, that you are dangerous. You may begin to take on other people's perceptions of you. Another thing that is really important to guard yourself against. This is also another reason why the sister wound is so prevalent with your archetype, why you have so often felt ostracized from femme groups, sisterhood groups, spiritual circles that claim to be there for the empowerment of all women. So you will have to expect two things when stepping into your brilliance. Number one, a lot of people are going to ostracize you. Number two, you're going to find it really hard to find the support structures that you need. And as a result, you might try to fit into industries, environments, collaborations that are not for you. It's lonely to have to walk this path alone. But what is much worse than loneliness is trying to belong in environments that you were never meant for, that you are not designed for. So again, coming back to the theme of this episode, trying to fit yourself into mainstream systems, mainstream culture, but in the process, sacrificing who you really are, diminishing your art. I talk about this all the time, right? Not releasing the song that you actually want to release because you're afraid that it's going to create something disruptive in people. Trying to make a certain career path work again and again and again, trying to make a certain collaboration work perhaps because that person has power and leverage, even when it's not meant for you. It's really important that you recognize what is truly meant for you and what is actually going to slow down your success in the long term. So how do you navigate the wound of ostracization? First of all, you stop taking it personally when you feel that you're not able to build success within mainstream structures. So the traditional route, the route that has worked for many other artists, many other women, is not going to work for you. You recognize this is just part and parcel of your journey, that your path is very unique, and that not making it in mainstream culture, not being for the masses, doesn't make you a failure. It doesn't make you any less important. It doesn't make you less powerful. On the contrary, it often means you are simply too powerful and too big to fit into spaces that cannot hold your energetic constitution, that are not here to support your success because the people in those spaces are there to serve a certain type of propaganda. They are there to serve the ego. They are there to serve the structures of a patriarchy, hierarchy, white supremacy. Is that something that you want to contribute towards by lending your voice or your artistic vision in these circles just for the purpose of getting a step up, growing your material success faster than if you did it independently? Is that what you want to lend your voice and your power towards? It's important to ask that question. At this time, more than ever, although I've said this many times, but at this time, how you spend your energy, what you put your energy into and your intention into is going to determine the next 10 years of your life. It's going to determine whether you become a woman who is truly aligned with her own path, or a woman who keeps leaking her power for the purpose of trying to belong, for the purpose of trying to appear materially successful, while sacrificing her spiritual power and integrity. Because we do lose our spiritual power when we walk a path that is not meant for us. So take this seriously. Obviously, the episodes on this podcast are not light work. I'm sorry if some of you tune in and hope it's going to be entertaining. It's not light work that we're doing here, my love. This is a creation of your entire life path. So think about what you are lending your voice to. Think about what you are pouring your creative vitality into, because that is going to determine your life over the next 10 years, how it turns out. And I think it's worth waking up in the morning and taking time to think about that, write it down. What am I lending? What cause, what mission, what purpose am I lending my voice to? And what is just non-essential? What is not actually benefiting? What relationships, what structures that I currently exist in are not benefiting that long-term vision? Ultimately, what I want you to understand is that if you are a woman who, similarly to me, has spent most of her lifetime being ostracized, feared, envied, attacked, brought down for no justifiable reason other than the fact that I have chosen to claim my brilliance, to exercise my gifts, to discipline myself, to work my arse off, my heart out, to bleed for my creative work. That is really the amount of effort that I've put into actualizing myself and my gifts. I have bled for this path, for everything that I've become. If you are someone who's on a similar path in the process of becoming, what I want you to understand is that whilst you might be feared by many, you will also be admired by many. You are needed by many. Your voice is desired by many. There are a specific group of humans and souls who came back to this planet just for the sole purpose of receiving medicine from you and learning from you. Each time you feel unseen or unmet or insignificant in any way, or that what you're doing is not reaping the fruits that you would desire by now, or that your efforts are not paying off, it is so important that you keep moving. It is so important that you keep moving, that you keep doing the work that is dear to your soul, the work that you believe in, because eventually you will break through, you will find your people, you will find the people that care about what you're doing and endorse it and support it. And I can 100% say this has been the case for me. And it took a lot, and it was worth it. So just remember that even up until now, if your life experience has not been one in which you've been supported by your family or your friends, you've not had that sense of belonging, you've not been nurtured, and you've always been the nurturer, you've always been the one that's holding everyone else, and no one has been holding you. Remember that the way through all of this is to step into your power increasingly, to keep creating art, to keep staying true to what you know is the right path for you, even if you're not seeing any physical manifestations or evidence of abundance from the effort that you've put in yet. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I really hope that you gained something from it. I always like to cover a lot on every episode. I could go so much deeper and go for probably 3 hours, but I think this has been long enough. Please make sure that you follow the podcast page if you're enjoying these episodes, that you rate the podcast as well, and do leave your comments to let me know if you would like me to speak more often about the Priestess path. Just a quick reminder again that the Temple of the High Priestess is currently at the early bird price, which means that if you join now through the one-time payment where you get 3 months of in-program support from me, then you're saving £300, which is quite a significant amount of money. I think that's like $400 if you join for May. You can also join via the membership, as I mentioned. All of those details are in the show notes. So if you want to stay up to date with all of the offers that I'm offering for women, do make sure that you check the show notes. Thank you so much, beloved, for listening. I wish you peace and empowerment and joy as you grow your strength and you grow your confidence and your voice. I believe in you. You are protected in everything that you do for the good of the collective and others. So believe in yourself, keep doing what you're doing, and I'll see you for the next episode.